This is Errol, Channel 17 News. The United States will provide up to $2 million in additional military assistance to aid Ukraine in its defense against the Russian invasion. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said the funding will include additional anti-armor and anti-defense weapons, according to the White House official. President Joe Biden has authorized the State Department to provide the additional funding. Of the many distortions manufactured by Russian President Vladimir Putin to justify Russia's assault on Ukraine, perhaps the most bizarre is his claim that the action was taken to denazify the country and its leadership. In making his case for entering his neighbor's territory with armored tanks and fighter jets, Putin has stated that the move was undertaken to protect people who have been subjected to bullying and genocide, and that Russia will strive for the demilitarization and denazification of Europe. With a full-scale attack by Russian troops now ongoing, it's important for Americans to understand why we should care about what happens to a country very few have visited or even known much more about. Many of us have never been to Ukraine. We barely hear about what's going on, but what we do know that it is a large country with about 44 million people that are now just getting up and fleeing, leaving their homes. To understand why, you must first understand that democracy has been under siege for many years. So with Washington's support for Ukrainian democracy, it is our best guarantee against war and for the continuation of peace. This is an attack on democracy, the rule of law, and the values the United States has stood for throughout history. Putin claims that Ukraine possesses a military threat and is historically part of Russia are clear and preposterous. The Lithuanian Prime Minister described such analysis as beyond Orwell and Kafka. Putin does, however, fear that Ukraine might become a successful democracy and market economy. If that occurred, it would serve as an example to the Russian people that could ultimately threaten his control. Finally, Ukrainian President Zelensky addressed Canada's House of Commons in a historic season, pleading for the Canadian government to impose more sanctions on Russia, along with his allies, to stop the invasion. Zelensky's virtual address began with an impassioned plea for Canadians to put themselves in the shoes of the running and fleeing Ukrainians facing shelling and horrific violence at the hands of Russian President Vladimir Putin. Can you imagine when you call your friends, your family, and you ask, how are you doing? And they say that they're looking up in the sky and they're seeing bombing. How many more cruise missiles have to fall on our cities until you make this happen? So Prime Minister Trudeau and other leaders of the NATO military alliance have ruled out no-fly zones in Ukraine, despite repeated pleas for the country's leadership. So we encourage and we urge you guys to continue following. We're following close. This is Channel 17 News. Talk to you later.